All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. We weren't even late today, Max Barr. We started on time. Can you believe that for a Monday morning after the Super Bowl? Yeah, we don't want to talk about that, do we? It's okay. It's all
I
right.
told you guys to take Seahawks. I hope you listened to me.
Did you know there was a game yesterday? Did you watch, or was it you just forgot?
That was the most boring game ever, by the way.
Eh,
That was so boring.
the Patriots Rams game. What year was that? I thought that was even more boring. But um, yeah.
The whole
Well,
thing, the commercials, bunch of AI slop,
a lot of
halftime
AI, a lot of
show
crypto.
slop.
A
The
lot
whole
going
thing was
on.
just a bunch of slop. Let's get to the real stuff here.
It's a new era for commercials. Yeah, I feel like it was those two. It was AI and crypto. I feel like were the two you saw the most discussed. So
Yeah, I was like, where's the good
nonetheless,
Doritos commercials? And
bring back the frogs, the Budweiser toads or whatever. Like bring back the horses. Like come on,
I know.
animals. Speaking of animals, we got a lot of animals represented in our power rankings this week, and we're gonna get to all those. Um, and yeah, so we're gonna get to it. Of course, we appreciate you guys hopping in. A noteworthy Saturday, um, where we had a lot of interesting games, as we talked about. So we got that to discuss. Be sure to get your super chats in. We'll get to those here in a bit as well. And yeah, let's run through our rankings here. Max Bar. Speaking of super chats, let's go ahead and drop one right here. Wildcats is back, $5 here.
I'm
The L,
back.
the air just smells better the Monday after a win. Yeah, not a fan of the commercials as well. So, all right, here we go. Let's jump into it. Power rankings, February 9th edition.
Guys, we only got 8 games left of the regular season. We only got 8 games left. Some of these teams, unfortunately, may only have 9 games left of their entire season. We're down to the wire here. Week 15. We are on week 15. And to start out the week 15 power rankings, well, the Gamecocks are now losers of 5 in a row, Blake. This past week, the road loss at Texas, the home loss badly against Missouri on Saturday.
Yep, South Carolina has not been maybe as competitive as I thought they'd be. They have been in some games, but just hasn't happened this year. And yeah, other than the LSU and Oklahoma wins, which I just have a feeling they may be the next couple teams on our list here. That's really all that South Carolina has, and we talked about it on Saturday. Upcoming schedule at Alabama, at Florida does not get any easier for the Gamecocks, who will be double-digit underdogs handily, I would say, in both those games.
Yeah, it's been rough sledding for South Carolina. Earlier there we were saying, they just look one player away. They just look one, front court piece away. It's looked like a little bit more than just one away lately. For South Carolina could play spoiler though. Can't lose to the Gamecocks now. All right, another team that could play spoiler here. And we got to keep an eye on the injury news like we have all year for LSU and the injured backcourt that Mac McMahon has had to deal with. They had the midweek off after an overtime win last Saturday at South Carolina, and they return home a few days ago and lose to Georgia by double digits at home for LSU. No Dean Thomas.
Yeah, with no Thomas, I think this is where you start factoring in some things like injury wise with some of these teams and what they are right now. There's another team I'll mention that about here in just a few minutes when we get to them. It has to factor in. So, yeah, without Thomas, you don't see a lot of optimism right now for LSU and another team that's got a pretty brutal upcoming schedule. They got 2 home games: Arkansas, Alabama, road games at Tennessee and Texas are the next 4. So, not an easy slate for a 2-8 team.
Yeah, no, not at all. And with the rotating door at point guard, it's tough sledding for the supporting cast to try to find any sort of rhythm, any sort of flow within your roles there with such a big piece going in and out of the lineup. All right, LSU here. is the only win since January 10th for Mississippi State, as they are now 1-7 in their last 8 games. 3 wins in SEC plays, an overtime win against Texas, and then Oklahoma and LSU. Had the midweek off, as did about half the league, to return home to the hump after 2 straight road games. 20-point loss to Arkansas, Blake, on Saturday.
It's kind of the state of this. I don't want to say I'm surprised, but like, you want to know like the state of the bottom 4?
Yeah.
Oklahoma went from last, having lost 9 in a row, to now going to jump up to, I assume, 13th after just winning on the road by a point at Vanderbilt. Like, that's kind of, that shows you sort of the state of this bottom group right now and the struggles they're having. So yeah, just to tie it in. Yeah, I mean that, but I mean, can you really argue it? Mississippi State's only, win over the past month is LSU on the road, right? So yeah, it's hard to argue against it. Mississippi State struggling, as we said, offensively, man, they have just not been able to find much consistently at times. And, it's not helped that their defense kind of isn't that sort of vintage, tough defensive team, that kind of up front can be, tough to handle with. I feel like that was kind of some of the things that define some of their recent teams. But yeah, just hasn't been there. And obviously for Oklahoma to tie them in, yeah, I mean, their season felt like it was completely over. They go win by a point at Vanderbilt in a game where they pretty much controlled the entire way. And we'll see if this can turn into anything down the stretch. They got a tough schedule, though, the rest of the way. So, Oklahoma, by virtue of winning at a top 15 team, I guess, this jumps you up a little bit, but, still sitting at 2-9 on the season.
Yeah, just real quick on Mississippi State. I don't want to knock a team while they're down, but the regression of Josh Hubbard this year is really showing up now. And take nothing away from the guy. He's circled 400 times before anyone else on the opposing scouting report with the supporting cast this year. But he's got the worst O rating of his career. In SEC play, he's shooting 26% from 3. He's 22 of 85. But the most jarring number, Blake, last year in SEC play, he was 87 of 97 from the free throw line. 89.7% free throw shooter in SEC play. This year, it's dropped to 75%. His free throw percentage in SEC play has dropped 14 from 80, just under 90% to just under 76%. So, I mean, that's really, I know he's number 1 on the scouting report and everything, but still, pretty stark regression in all areas for Josh Hubbard this year is really holding back that Mississippi State offense. And then, like you said, Oklahoma just been knocking at the door. Not much to separate these teams other than one team just had a better Saturday than the others, pretty much.
That's it. I mean, that's what it comes down to with this group. So,
yeah. All right. Now getting kind of, I would say getting kind of out of the bottom group here, but really not so much, as the Rebels of Ole Miss have lost 5 in a row now after they went on that Missouri, Georgia, Mississippi State 3-game win streak there in mid-January. It's been tough sledding. You had 4 straight road games. So, I mean, take that for what you want, but still, you had a bunch of opportunities to try to steal one, and they were close in some of them, but just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, Ole Miss has the best chance to play the spoiler down the stretch just because, as we said, they're going to have 6 of their last 8 games at home. No one else, I think, is going to have that set up just based on the swap, as we mentioned with that Vanderbilt game. So, yeah, 6 of their last 8 at home. The road games are at A&M and at Auburn, so those will be tough. But, you get Alabama, Mississippi State, Florida, LSU, Vanderbilt, South Carolina at home. I mean, you could see them splitting those games at the very worst, potentially. I think they're going to win some of those. So, we'll see. I think getting to, 9-9 or something like that's a lot to ask, but I think you will potentially see this team play the spoiler a little bit, especially in Oxford.
Yeah, even with the favorable schedule down the stretch, I just think Ole Miss is in too much of a hole resume-wise to, go on a run here and sneak into the tournament. Evan Mia's got them not close, and Torvik doesn't have them with much of a chance. But they could play spoiler to quite a few teams here. Haven't been playing bad. I mean, 3-point loss at Vandy, single-digit loss at Kentucky. We're right there with Texas for a while until the last 4 minutes. So dangerous team, but not anywhere close to the tournament right now. Speaking of the tournament, one team that has got a little bit of work to do to lock themselves up. They're in for right now, but it's not by much. The margin for error is starting to close. They did themselves a favor, though, this past week with a 12-point victory at LSU for Georgia after they had the midweek off. A nice answer after the 3-game Texas-Tennessee A&M losing streak. And they got the biggest game of their season with the rematch against Florida at home. Dropped that game in early January. But Georgia 1-4 in their last, or 1-3 in their last 4, but did take care of business on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I look at it, I'm like, Georgia's profile isn't all that bad. I think it's just, they had lost 3 in a row before winning at LSU, and a couple games just got away from you. Texas and Texas A&M had every chance in the world to beat Tennessee, just couldn't do it. So still have wins, home wins against Arkansas and Auburn at Missouri. So they stockpiled some decent wins there early on. But we'll see. Like you said, this is their biggest game of the season on Wednesday. If they can beat Florida, obviously that moves you much closer to the not necessarily comfortable type range because you can't lose out or anything, but would be a significant win. And after that, too, they'll play 4 of their last 7 on the road. So, which road games at Oklahoma, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Mississippi State. So you got some dangerous tournament resume hurting games down the stretch when it comes to, South Carolina at home, Mississippi State on the road. Those games could wind up hurting you more than helping you. We'll see. Oklahoma, I think just by virtue of winning that game at Vanderbilt, helps their metrics a little bit. So, yeah, I think Georgia's going to be okay, but they are much closer to the wrong side of the bubble than they have been in a while.
Honestly, Georgia and then these next 2 teams are kind of going to be what decides the SEC, how many bids the SEC gets. Because right now on Torvik, we've been following it. It was 9 bids was the favorite the entire year. Right now, there's over a 50% chance the SEC gets 10. Far and away the favorite for the league to get 10. And I was shot down earlier in the year saying, do we have a chance at 11? 15% chance at 11 right now. And that's because of this little group here at 11, 10, and 9. And at 10, it's a team that is probably the most bubbly of them all. Been floating right around Lenardi's last 4 in, first 4 out, right around that threshold right there to make the tournament is Texas. They come in at 34th in Ken Pom after 3 straight wins. It's been against Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Ole Miss, 3 teams we've already talked about. However, you're not going to apologize for going on a 3-game win streak in the SEC this year. So Texas, you're at 10.
Yeah, I had Texas ahead of Missouri. I'm a little surprised Missouri's going to be this high because I mean, to me, there's nowhere else they can be other than 9.
Missouri's 9.
But yeah, I'm a little surprised by that because we talked about Texas on Saturday. That I just think Texas has been better. They have wins over Alabama, Vanderbilt, Georgia. 3 in a row now at Oklahoma, South Carolina, Ole Miss. Their 3 losses over the past month have been by 4 to A&M, 5 to Kentucky, 6 to Auburn, 2 of those on the road. Missouri, meanwhile, has lost at LSU and at Ole Miss. And I know they had the Florida-Kentucky wins, but that was a month ago too. Since then, 3 of their wins are against our bottom 3 or 4 teams, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, South Carolina. So I'm a big Dennis Gates guy, in case you guys didn't know. Big Dennis Gates guy. But I may have Texas ahead of Missouri right now. I think they've been playing better. But we'll find out on Saturday, won't we, Sam?
Yep. It's kind of a matter of, just kind of how recent are you looking for your power rankings, because if you look more recently as in this, just the past 2 weeks, I think you got to go Texas. If you spread it out a little bit more over SEC play, I could see the arguments for Missouri. I would probably go Texas as well right now. I think this is the majority of our liking the Tigers a little bit better, but still, I mean, not much separating them. When you filter Torvik for the last 4 weeks of college basketball, Missouri comes in at 51st in the country, Texas at 33rd. So I think Texas has just been a little bit more efficient here over the past few weeks. But still, two teams that have been floating around the bubble. Texas, like I said, to open up on the right side, Torvik gives Missouri right now a 33% chance to make the tournament. So not out of it, but you got to win one or two here that you're probably not supposed to.
So what we're saying is, just like the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the voters got it wrong this week. Texas and Missouri. All right.
Yeah. We'll see. All right.
We'll find out.
Now there's kind of a separation here in the rankings a little bit as we get to the top 8 here. And there's going to be a few upset fan bases. 8, I feel like 7 and 8, Blake, in our power rankings all year has kind of just been the short end of the stick. It's been the top grouping, and you probably land here because maybe you lost on Saturday. Maybe you lost the past 2 Saturdays for Auburn. Auburn has not won a game since January 28th. I mean, only 3 games ago, but you had the midweek off. Lost at home in the Iron Bowl basketball to Alabama, 96-92. And then the Saturday before that at Tennessee, 77-69. I mean, not bad losses, but when you're splitting hairs through this kind of middle group here, Auburn is on a 2-game losing streak.
They are. Yeah, they are. And I think that's the part where, again, we're really splitting hairs at this point.
Yep.
Like, I mean, they play Vanderbilt tomorrow night. We're going to have our predictions live for that right after this for our MVPs and legends on our membership tiers. And yeah, I mean, Auburn, I think, is still playing pretty well. So, I mean, I think you could argue them for a couple more spots higher here. But the games will decide it. So I don't really have a lot to add. I mean, Auburn's okay. They played, the second strongest schedule in the country, whatever it is, first or second. I don't remember. What order is it? Alabama, Auburn? I should know the order because people are going to get pissed off if I put one ahead of the other. But they played a ridiculous schedule. They just lost by 9, lost by 4 at home to Alabama. Auburn's fine. And I think they got a good chance to win tomorrow night. So, yeah.
Yeah, that game tomorrow night is probably going to be a pick 'em, to be honest. Maybe Auburn -2 at the most.
When we get to Vanderbilt, I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. So,
well, you don't have to wait long, Blake, because Vanderbilt is at 7.
Okay, I didn't know that. So
there you go. Vanderbilt here is now 4-3 in their last 7, really being impacted by the loss of Duke Miles and also Frankie Collins now, as we saw Tyler Tanner go for 37 and lose by 1 point to Oklahoma. The story of Vanderbilt's weakness this year has been the lack of interior rim protection and defensive rebounding. However, the guard play was so dang good that it kind of outweighed that weakness. Well, now that we're into mid-February, and you got a bunch of tape on how Vanderbilt is going without Duke Miles, without Frankie Collins. It kind of seems like Vanderbilt's been figured out here for the time being.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you saw my rankings, and it will not make some Vanderbilt fans happy, but I had Vanderbilt lower. I think you rank teams where they are also, and I think right now I could absolutely justify putting Auburn ahead of Vanderbilt based on performance. Because over the past week or so, since the Kentucky game, I know they've only played 2 games, but like Vanderbilt just absolutely had to figure out a way to beat Ole Miss. And then I know it winds up being 1, but like they had it handed to them by the worst team in the SEC. So I push back a little bit on if there are some teams you're going to move around a bit and base it on where they are at this very moment.
Yep.
I don't know that I could pick Vanderbilt ahead of these other teams and feel confident about it, even Auburn. But we're going to find out tomorrow night. So I think that's where, again, when we talk about these power rankings and why it's a composite vote, everybody is going to have different things that they value more. Like I did knock Vanderbilt a little bit more. And I know if you didn't watch the game, you're just like, well, they lost by a point. they got it handed to them, man.
Yeah.
Up until the final, 3 minutes, where it's just a furious rally, right? So, which that's part of the 40-minute game, but I'm a little more down on Vanderbilt right this second, and I think it's just because I think matchup-wise, they've got some really tough matchups coming up, but I also can't ignore the fact that after they lost 3 in a row, they won 3 in a row, and they lost, yes, metric-wise, it's still going to show by a single point against Oklahoma. So, we'll see how it plays out, but I just think they're just simply they are a team that's right here in the middle now without their 2 guards. I don't think I could put them any higher than the 7 or 8 type range. Honestly, I just don't think I could right now.
Yeah, over the last month of basketball, they come in at 26th in Torvik. If you put in Duke Miles and Frankie Collins, probably jump up to about that 15-ish range, like right where they are on the season on KenPom. I don't want, like, this isn't some like Vanderbilt sucks and we've always known they sucks. No. Duke Miles through the first 2 months of the season was a top 10 player in all of college basketball.
We had him when we did our SEC rank or awards, the review basket review column that I wrote in December. I said I'm putting Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles on my first team all SEC right now. That's how good the guy is. So let's not act like he's just some role player. But again, my argument would be that you do have to simply put them where they are now without him and still without Frankie Collins. And I just think you've seen a lot more inconsistency these past couple games when you factor both of that in. And it's hard to ignore how rough Oklahoma's season was going, having lost 9 in a row, and they just went on the road and won. So Vanderbilt's a hard team to place, I think, and I could probably hear any argument on where you think they should be, higher or even lower. But it really depends on what you're valuing right now with the overall resume versus a team missing key players. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of inconsistency, this next team was the complete opposite of that through SEC play. About as consistent as you could ask. Game in, game out. You knew what to expect. Until you got to play the Gators. And that's where Texas A&M drops to number 6 after they get the Gator treatment. To be honest, it's what Florida's been doing to everybody. A 20-point,
they got chomped.
19-point home loss to Florida after a tight Wednesday 197 road game at Alabama. Texas A&M for the first time since November 9th and November 14th drops 2 in a row.
Here's what I think it's going to happen. People are going to see this more about A&M. I don't see this as much about A&M. I see this way more about the top 5 and how well the teams in the top 5 have now been playing. And so when you have a game like that, and just by virtue of losing 2 in a row, you're going to drop several spots because, in my opinion, the top 5 deserve a little bit more leeway based on their overall performances. So I know it's gonna be easy to jump on the, well, we told you A&M, blah blah blah. But I think A&M's dropping from whatever they were last week to where they are this week, not just because they lost 2 in a row by 3 at Alabama, and then they got chomped against the Gators, which a lot of people are getting chomped right now.
Yeah.
It's more about, I think, how well overall the top 5 are playing right now. So somebody's got to drop.
Yeah. I'm not bashing the Aggies here or anything. Still really good team. Proved that against Alabama on the road. Proved that against Georgia on the road. Proved that at Texas on the road, and at Tennessee. You know, they've proven they're a good team. Florida just built perfectly to take advantage of the weaknesses of this A&M roster. And it's hard to put Texas A&M against other teams in this top 5 grouping because if you want to put them above an Alabama, they lost to Alabama head-to-head. You want to put them above a Tennessee, they lost to Tennessee head-to-head. So you don't have those, little hair splitters going in the Aggies' way either. So still a really good team.
We can't always factor in head-to-head, straight up one game, like when we're comparing an entire body of work. But if it's close, you better believe that's the deciding factor. Like if we're all doing our individual rankings, which remember, it's us, it's our MVPs, it's our legends on the members tier, and yes, it's still a weighted vote, but if you think two teams are close together, the easiest thing to do is go head-to-head. If you think there's a gap between the two teams, and then it's like, well, is the head-to-head enough, or are there other things? And so I think someone mentioned earlier about the Missouri and Georgia thing. Well, yeah, Georgia beat Missouri, but is there a little more of a gap there in some people's opinions that the head-to-head wasn't enough? Maybe. So that's, again, we're talking, come on, like we're at game whatever, right? So you're going to be able to argue any way you want with some of this beyond head-to-head. So, yeah.
I'll tell you one team that wants nothing to do with an Aggies. What are the Aggies' projected seed range right now? They're projected a 9 seed right now, I believe. I can already smell the Houston against Texas A&M 1 versus 9 matchup, and it's a 2-point game with 3 minutes left. It happens every year, it feels like. You can see it already. Just dangerous team. No, the Aggies. Okay.
Micah wants to let us know with the $2 super chat that he's not a big Bucky fan. Surprised by that, Micah. Did not know your true thoughts until now.
Bucky Ball's not gaining many fans here through his first SEC season with this style of play.
Hey, reminder too, as Nicholas notes, reminder that power rankings mean everything, and they'll either make or break your week. Can I, before you reveal number 5, can I just say that, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, because you know how I'm thinking. I think the top 5 is pretty predictable, the order. Do you think I'm going to be surprised? Because I think it's pretty straightforward on how this 5 should go. Let's find out.
I think the top 2 is solidified, but I think 5, 4, 3 you may be able to shuffle. Let's find out though.
I think there's an easy separator between 5, 4, and 3, but we'll get to it.
Okay. All right. I don't know if you're gonna. I don't know. Okay, we'll see. At number 5, we've got Alabama.
Okay. This is what I thought. Yeah.
Alabama. Come the last time we did this show, I said Alabama has lost 2 out of their last 3, with Florida and Tennessee being those losses. Well, how did the Tide respond? A nice win over Texas A&M at home, and then boom, Saturday, game of the year for the Tide as they go to Neville Arena and grab a 96-92 win. Huge week for the Tide, probably the biggest week of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think Alabama rightfully has jumped up a bit here after a very, very good week. And yeah, I mean, they just worked the Alabama magic. 197, 96, 92. That's exactly what you expect. So, that's the response. You said it. Like, the response was what it was all about with Alabama after the Florida game. Like, this was a team that, just simply felt like they had not been playing very well. And yeah, now they are. So look out. Here come the Tide, because they're at Ole Miss on Wednesday, host South Carolina. Then they host Arkansas, at LSU, host Mississippi State. If Alabama goes 5-0, these next 5 games, don't be shocked if they work their way up to the top 2 or 3 here. So,
yep, getting back Amari Allen has been a game changer. It started the last 2 games, 29 and 35 minutes with vintage Amari Allen stat lines. So, got a little rough patch, losing out on your main point forward there, 6'8", controls the floor. One of my favorite players in the league. Mm-hmm. Okay. Moving on up to number 4.
This is who I think it should be.
It is the Volunteers of Tennessee. Tennessee rattled off 4 in a row, 4 good ones too. Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, Ole Miss at home on Tuesday. And then on Saturday, had that thing controlled for the first half, was up by 14 at halftime, 47-33. Nate Aments playing like a first-team forget first-team freshman, first-team All-SEC altogether over the past few weeks, but could not get it done down the stretch against the Cats, and Tennessee comes in here at number 4.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We said it, if you do want to push back on Tennessee being at 4 and think they should be higher, I mean, since January the 10th, the loss at Florida by 24, they've lost 2 games, both to the Cats, and both games where they had double-digit leads, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, Tennessee, I think you could make the argument, had Tennessee won both of those games, like they'd easily be sitting at 2 right now. They'd be sitting behind our number 1 team. And I don't think there'd be much debate about that. But that's how close that maybe these next teams are, and we know who the other 3 are that are left. And I've got a feeling, I don't know the order, because you have the order over there behind lock and key, but I've got a feeling head-to-head matters a little bit when we start to get into some of these. So, yeah, Tennessee's been outstanding. Where are they at in Torvik since January 10th?
20. Top 20 team, college basketball.
Thought they'd be higher. Thought they'd be a little higher. But I guess because you lose the 2 games, that would factor in. So,
yeah, I mean, they've been pretty much, for Tennessee, everything except their offensive turnover rate has gotten better since about a month ago. They're a team that is improving. You always hear the broadcast in big games now. They'll play like they'll throw out the cliche, the best teams get better in February. The best, championship teams get better in February. Who knows where Tennessee will end up with how hard it is for them to put together a consistent 2 halves. But this is a team that has seen a lot of improvement over the past, month or so of basketball.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with Ament. So,
all right. We know who number 3 is.
Number 3 is the Hogs of Arkansas, coming in top 3 in the power rankings. They have won 4 of their last 5, going back to the Georgia loss on the road. Responded to that game with a huge win at home against Vanderbilt. Snuck a tough one against LSU on last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago. Oklahoma win on the road. Kentucky loss there last Saturday, midweek off. Come back in a game where I thought Mississippi State was going to give one of their best efforts of the season. They had just looked not too bad on the road at Missouri the game before, and Arkansas just comes out and smokes them. Was very impressed with Arkansas this past Saturday, minus Carter Knox, minus DJ Wagner. It's impressive.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is like if you'd have known going in, and we already thought that was a tricky road game at Mississippi State, and you're just like, ooh, you're going to have 7 guys out there. Yeah, like that would have been more worrisome for us, I think, going into that game. But they came out, and as we said, they were the tone setters from the start, and they were just aggressive and took it to them. So, yeah, I was really impressed with that, especially you kind of had the midweek off after the disappointing loss to Kentucky. And so, yeah, Arkansas is in a pretty good spot. Remember, they still have some nice wins, which that's where we talk about, I think, when you get to, at this point, head-to-head and how things are, separating it. I mean, we can say all we want in the chat about how Arkansas should be ahead of Kentucky, but we did just see these 2 teams play. And so I think that's probably an easy vote for some people. So I don't know what else. I mean, again, guys, I'm not going to argue this one. Like, we watched them play a week and a half ago, and Kentucky went to Fayetteville and won. So I think that was probably the big separator, which we can go ahead and reveal it. We know who number 2 is. And so, yeah, I think that's the separation. But, Arkansas does. They have the wins over Tennessee. They beat Vanderbilt by 25 at home, which is where, if you're Arkansas, you're like, come on, Vanderbilt. Like, we need that to still be a significant win. So keep, maybe turn this thing around a little bit. But, yeah, so Arkansas sitting here at LSU tomorrow night, and then they got Auburn on Saturday. That'll be a big one. So and then the Cats at 2. The Cats are at 2. Like, how could they not be at this point? They've won 8 of their last 9. They have the one game at Vanderbilt. Yeah, they got blown out, but they've been fantastic over the past month. So,
yeah, I mean, it hasn't been flashy. A lot of grinder games, 3 points against Tennessee, 5 points against Texas, 2 points against Tennessee, 1 point against LSU. So it's been close. So the analytics don't love Kentucky because you do have that Vanderbilt game dragging you back. Plus the wins that you are picking up are not these huge wide margins where you're jumping up 5-10 spots in analytic, rankings.
yeah.
It's pretty much right on where that projection is. But it's hard to win close games, and you have to reward teams for winning close games. Can't apologize for winning here. And over the last month, Kentucky has done a whole lot of winning. If you want to push back from the analytical perspective, okay, fair play. But this is about winning games, and Kentucky's winning games.
Yeah, that's what I've got to laugh at that a little bit because I'm like, we're in an era now where like the analytics like just get so much attention, and we do it too. But like we're forgetting sometimes we're so tapped into the analytics that we're forgetting that winning games is the point here. Like,
right.
Do you win your games? Not, well, we only lost to this team by this many points.
Yep.
Did you win? That is what it comes down to. So this game can be very simple sometimes. And so, yeah, like we said, guys, like we're 10, 11 games in for some teams. And we can play all the head-to-head dominoes and, well, this team beat that team. Well, yeah, why isn't Oklahoma ranked ahead of Vanderbilt? Why is Auburn not ranked ahead of Florida and so forth? But sometimes we're going to maybe look at the teams who have won 8 of 9, which how many teams in the SEC have won 8 of 9 right now, and say, yeah, they probably deserve to be a little bit higher. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So I get it. Like, we all have fun with these things, but Kentucky's won 8 of their last 9 games. I don't care if they won every single game by a point. They've won 8 of their last 9 games. And who else is in that same scenario other than Florida, right? So that's how it works.
And it's not like it was you got, okay, yeah, you beat this team, but you got all the good teams at home, and then you only had to go to LSU, South Carolina, Mississippi State. Like, no.
Right.
Road wins at Arkansas, Tennessee, another home win against Tennessee, home win against Texas. Like, it's not been the most difficult stretch in the world, but it hasn't been the other way by any means. So I'm rewarding Kentucky for winning games here. Not every SEC team is doing that, but there is one that is.
And we can say we can get to one here because I've also seen some people say in the chat, it's like, well, Kentucky's still going to lose by 20 to Florida. That could still happen. That doesn't mean that Kentucky's not the number 2 team because I don't care who you put in there right now. Even if maybe you put Auburn in there right this very second, who I know just beat Florida 2.5 weeks ago or whatever it was. I just think the way the Gators are playing right now, I'd probably say they could do this to anybody in the SEC. So, yeah, they did lose the Auburn game. People want to keep holding that over their heads, and that's fine. But like we mentioned, we even got some pushback the other night after the A&M game. I think there were some people like, well, Florida's not as good as this. I'm like, if we can't convince you that Florida's the best team in the SEC, I don't know what to say because they're tremendous. I don't care they can't shoot the 3. They're 17-6. They're 8-2 in the league. They've also won 8 of 9. They have the loss to Auburn. Yes, man. It's like, come on, a loss to the Tigers. People act like is losing to the. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, Max, but it's not a terrible loss to Auburn. So yeah, Florida's been excellent. They are. Let me check the FanDuel odds real quick. If you want to get in on the action with the Gators, you should have got it a long time ago. Plus 1,400. Well, they're plus 1,400 to win the national championship, so they are 6th behind Arizona, Michigan, Duke, Houston, and Illinois. And yeah, to win the SEC,
Still like those
yeah, this is not even a debate anymore. Think about this, all right? Let's consider the standings right now. Let's just do a quick recap before I give you this number. Florida is 8-2 in the SEC. Okay? Kentucky's 8-3, half game out. Arkansas 7-3, A&M 7-3. Florida at FanDuel minus 700 to win the SEC. Kentucky is next at plus 1,400. That is the gap that is seen right now between Florida and teams who are legitimately half and one game behind them in the standings. That's nuts.
And they're shooting 28.8% from three on the year.
Right. Nuts.
Which is just ridiculous. Over the last month of basketball, ladies and gentlemen, over the last 4 weeks, that's a pretty good sample size. Every team is in conference play. A lot of good road games, a few good home games. Florida's number one in Torvik over the last 4 weeks, college basketball.
Wow.
They're number one in the country. And you could
that.
filter it to only 3 weeks. Florida's number one. You could filter it to only 2 weeks. Florida's number one. It doesn't matter. You go 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Florida's been the best team in college basketball over the last month.
Yeah.
They've been that good. Best rebounding team in the country. Best center in the country. They're undeniable.
Undeniable. They are an excellent team, and yeah, they're at number one in our power rankings this week, and there should be no debate on that. All right. There you go. Our power rankings for the week. Now we're going to turn it over to you guys here for the last few minutes. Get in your super chats, questions, comments, all that. We'll get to them. Super chat, the best way to do that, folks. We got a lot of you in here. Get Max posing over there with the National Championship Cup. So, yeah. All right, tell you about our sponsors, and then we're going to answer some of your questions, and then we're going to catch up on some super chats from a couple of you guys out there as well. Remember, support our friends over at And Collar, A-N-D, collar.com. Suit up over there with a performance menswear brand. They make the polos, button-ups, quarter-zips, pants, and the suits. They've got it all. Stretchy, affordable, make you look good. They've invented the Workleisure. Stain-resistant, spill whenever you want on that thing. Sam Smith always likes to talk about the comfort with the four-way stretch. Wrinkle-resistant, machine-washable, lightweight. The price is fantastic. It gets even better when you use our code SEC16 for 16% off over at And Collar. A-N-D, collar.com. Excellent, excellent products over there from our friends at And Collar. And our friends at ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com, the world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. Don't forget, they've got golf accessories too, all those phone case accessories. They got all kinds of stuff. Doesn't even matter if you're terrible at golf. They will let you buy it.
Yeah.
They're trying to do anything to help your game. So head over there for 25% off, SEC25, 25% off over at ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com. And Icon Wallets, tremendous for you people out there carrying all the cash. Premium Napa leather, 3 interchangeable university icons. They are officially licensed collegiate wallets. You can, again, stop carrying around the bulky wallet, the George Costanza special. It's time to upgrade. SEC 16. SEC 16 for 20% off over at Icon Wallets. Search for them. You'll find them there. Icon Wallets. Great stuff. Protect your money. All right. Speaking of money, super chats are coming in left and right here. It's super chat time here on Power Rankings. Little shot at the buckyball here. $2 super chat. A little gimmicky.
Not making any friends. He's not making any friends.
A little gimmicky. I agree here. Gators, best front court in the nation. Florida's dominating that category. So, for sure. Micah also taking a shot at Bucky here. $2 super chat. This is the super chat Bucky would not be too thrilled with, I don't think. All right. Sam. Oh, boy. All right. Sam. Yes, he's been a member of our channel for 20 months, but Sam is trying to send Rick Barnes elsewhere. I'm surprised by that. I've always thought Sam has held Rick Barnes in such a high regard. So there's a combination. All the Buckyball haters. Sam loves Bucky. He wants him to come to Knoxville. So,
what's crazy is just the reaction to a certain coach leaving the SEC and the rejoicing of a certain style of play coming in the preseason. How quickly such has turned in the other direction. Be careful what you wish for.
A&M going to forever be the ultimate nemesis of any SEC fan base because no matter who they hire, the coach always has a style that just everyone wants to just hate on. I think A&M fans are perfectly okay with it, though. Right this second, I would say A&M are perfectly okay with the swap they've made. So, Bo's got a message for the haters in the comments. So, I mean, why should Bo be upset? His team is 17-6 and 7-3 in the SEC. So, all right. Why should it matter? Okay. I think that's it. Unless we got any more super chats, what we're going to do is we're going to hop off here shortly. By the way, Nicholas was asking, how's the break from the cold in the garage? It's still a little chilly down here. It usually is always more cold in the garage than it is outside, but today it's supposed to get up to like 70 max. I could just bathe in this 70-degree weather.
You guys have 70 right now?
It's going to be up to 70 today. We're getting a couple-day warm stretch here. We deserve it after the ice storm, okay?
Wow.
So, we deserve it.
Nice.
Yeah. Might get a tan today. We'll see. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Unless you guys want to throw any more super chats our way in the next couple minutes, we're going to head over, and we are going to do our predictions for tomorrow night's games, which there's only 2. So we're going to get to those, and I'm going to give you the link here to join the membership if you would like as well. Yeah, I would like to put the polo on for Man Collar when it gets a little warmer. So remember, you can become a member here at Southeastern 16. Got to be an MVP or legend. So if you're on the supporters tier, upgrade, only $2 more a month. $2. Can't buy anything. Trust me, the Super Bowl commercial told you can't buy anything for $2 these days. So $2, upgrade to the MVP, hit the join button, and it'll let you change your membership, all that stuff. We'll do our predictions for tomorrow night's games. Yeah, a couple to discuss, and we're going to go do that for MVPs and legends right now here on that. So it's fine.
Micah getting in the last few jabs, getting in a few more jabs.
Hey, you know what? You don't have to throw the super chats in the memberships. You just can hop in here and enjoy the show. All right? And there's no shame in that. So, no shame, folks. All right, Micah with a prediction on the way out. $2 super chat says Bucky's going to lose 4 more SEC games. So, there you have it. All right. This has been the Texas A&M Appreciation Hour here at Southeastern 16. We're heading over to
regular scheduled programming here.
Yeah, regularly scheduled programming. All right, you guys have a great day too, Ollie. Everyone else out there, get a tan. It's going to be warm in your area. Get a nice little tan today.
There you go.
And
soak up some rays.
We're gonna head over and do our predictions. More content this week on the channel, of course. All of our basketball stuff. Baseball gets started. It's baseball week. Got a lot of baseball stuff coming up this week. Football.
I got one thing.
Oh, what do you got?
Okay, so last year, probably my greatest career accomplishment, I got on Pardon My Take. Barstool Big Cat found one of my kind of tournament projection deep dive stats I did that was like, hey, this might be the year that every 1 seed makes the Final Four because of this stat that I found. Now, it's really, really hard to do the deep trends of KenPom in relation to the current teams because you have to individually download every single year's data set pre-tournament because you can't go back and do the trends because all of the data is after these teams have played 5-6 March Madness games. Your stats change a bunch. So you have to individually download every single Excel file, like 26 Excel files. Well, I have
Sounds
been
thrilling.
working on a little something. All right. I'm going to have a little Southeastern 16 kind of March Madness guide to Ken Palm trends. I've already got offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. I'm going to go through all 27 years of offensive rebounding rates, defensive rebounding rates, how many points you score in transition, how many points you score from the free throw line, and find the trends where it's like, hey, Tennessee has got an offensive rebounding rate of 45%. There's only been X amount of teams that have entered March Madness with that, and they've all finished at least here. And, kind of stuff like that. And I'm just going to absolutely pick it apart. So be looking out for that. It's going to be about a month-long project for me. So I'm excited about it.
Whew, getting a little hot in the garage now. I got to take my jacket off, man, with all this analytical trend talk here. Oh, tremendous. Tremendous. All right. Max is the man. You guys know it in the chat. All right. We're going to head on over and talk about these games on Tuesday night. Join us there. Back tomorrow. Bracketology. I don't think we're doing a gut bracket tomorrow. We're going to take the week off on the gut bracket. But you never know with us. Depends on how our gut's feeling tomorrow. We'll find out. All right. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.